Interior designers Garrow Kedigian. Canadian-born designer Garrow Kedigian has been working in New York with his self-titled firm for the last 8 years and has found great success in the fields of both interior design and architecture. He has designed urban boutiques, stylish residences, and beautiful office spaces for his clients and has been recognized by the media for his efforts. Garrow has been featured in Architectural Digest, House Beautiful, Elle Decor, and the New York Times. He was also named one of Traditional Home's 20 Young Designers to Watch, and was included in the exclusive Kips Bay decorator show House for 2009. Garrow's spaces are varied in style, but always show great taste and flair. His sense of proportion, drama, and sightlines are the staples of his designs. Garrow said, "The architecture is what sets the tone and tells you what you need to do with a space, because I agree with that wholeheartedly. I also enjoy seeing the array of artwork Garrow includes in his spaces and the unique ways he showcases it."
Garrow Kedigian, interior designer. Welcome to my home in Montreal. I grew up in Montreal and this neighborhood is really special to me. Chelsea Place was built in the 1920s and it was designed after some model London terrace houses. So it was a British architect.
Garrow attended McGill University's architecture program in his hometown of Montreal, Quebec. After completing his formal education, Garrow moved to Boston, Massachusetts, followed by his current locale, New York, to gain experience with some of the top designers in North America. He now runs his company from his Upper East Side studio/apartment. Garrow, at age 7, I had an inkling that my parents' living room felt off balance. After carefully studying the room, I decided to try the piano at the opposite side of the room, and surprised even myself at how such a decision made such a giant impact on the space. That opened up my mind to the importance of design, layout, and planning for a room.
It happens to be the interior corner of the square, which is the most interesting because the floor plan itself is very unique. The house is about 5,500 square feet. We have some gracious living spaces on the first floor, a beautiful living room. The windows are symmetrical on both sides. Really allowed me to furnish the room in such a grand manner, which I loved. Beautiful.
Garrow, after graduating from McGill Architecture, I was fortunate enough to get a job working at the office of William Hodgins, one of the best in the interior design business. Working for Mr. Hodgins for 6 years certainly shaped, refined, and influenced my work. I am often complimented by people who learn I've worked with him when they remark, "I can see that." Other noted design influences are Marjorie Chouchen, who I worked with when I first came to New York. Her calm, gracious, and extensively thought-out roomscapes are unparalleled. Jeffrey Bill Huber, who I consider to be one of the greatest design talents of our time, and the architect Alex Gorlin, the latter two designers I have more recently had the pleasure of collaborating on a few projects with.
Fireplace in the living room. I organized the space with a giant Greek key carpet, which is very geometric and helps pull the room together. And on one side of the room, I centered a beautiful sofa on the windows, and then on the other side, I did an L-shaped banquette sofa.
Garrow, often, when first meeting with new clients, this is one of the first questions they ask me, and I find it a complex one to answer. I guess if I have to give a definitive reply, it would be streamlined classic. I feel good design is sustainable and lasting, and principles which have been learned over the development of a design tradition are rooted in classic principles.
I really wanted to play up the architecture of the space. It had beautiful crown moldings, beautiful wall paneling, and I always find that adding color to the walls always enhances that. I always say to people that it's so much easier to decorate a room that has color on the walls, and once you paint a color on the walls, you're like half done.
This does not necessarily mean the room has to be fussy with florals and chintz. I think even successful modern rooms are based on simple classic principles of organization. My work is definitely founded in the classic, but pared back, and finds itself defined somewhere in between traditional and contemporary, simplified, and addresses the fact that we are working today and not in the past. Garrow, a well-planned space, is based on a combination of design inspiration, which is the initial first response to a room/space when walking through it for the first time. This coupled with the culmination of that inspiration using a well-structured process of design development.
For me, a dining room is really a multi-purpose space. In this specific instance, the dining room has a beautiful fireplace that's right in line with the view looking in from the stair hall. I wanted to really play up the view, so I pushed the table to one side with a dining banquette. I often like to do glass-top dining tables because it keeps the space airy and light and also allows you to infuse a room with a little bit of a modern detail.
I often start with inspiration sketches and build upon those with more intricate design drawings, studying massing, scale, proportion. I feel the architecture of the room is symbiotic with the interior design, and the two cannot be independent of one another. A successful space is a marriage between the two, and I feel my background trained as an architect helps me in the design development phases of all my projects. A successful room is always defined by a well-organized and thought-through furniture layout plan.
The dining room is characterized by a beautiful deep teal green color. And again, I'm contrasting that with a very vibrant yellow on the banquette, which really creates a little bit of a push-pull in terms of the decor.
Garrow artwork is often a window into the personality of the client, which is why there is a varied range of works in my projects. As you describe, I always leave art to the end of the project. That way I've had a chance to get to know my client during the interim of the design/development stages of the project, and the last shopping expedition is usually the one for art, since it's such a personal thing. Sometimes clients have their own collection of artwork, which is a consideration in the design phases, but when I have the opportunity to select their artwork, I always select the pieces that I feel reflect the client and, maybe a little selfishly, complement the design of the space the best.
I actually love the efficiency of this small kitchen. The cabinetry was all here, and my immediate gut reaction was we got to paint this whole thing black. I went over the backsplash, which is all blue Delft tile with mirror, just to give it more of a modern sense.
Garrow Kips Bay was an eye-opener. The thing I enjoyed most was watching all the other designers work in their rooms and seeing how everyone does things. Similarities in design strategies are comforting and differences are curious and enticing. I had the smallest room at the 2009 Kips Bay show house, and I wanted it to pack a punch.
When you come in from the front door, you actually enter in sort of underneath the staircase. And then the staircase swoops up over and around you with a great big Palladian window over your head, which really was the architectural character that I walked in the front door and I said, this is the house, I don't need to see any more rooms.
Garrow, I've seen many trends in this business, and I've tried to avoid them, because I feel trendy isn't always sustainable. But recently I've noticed fabric showrooms commissioning designers to design their fabric lines, which I think is a great idea, since I'm always shopping and thinking if only that came in a larger scale, or if only that one was available in a green colorway, etc. I've loved everything I've seen in these designer lines so far.
Upstairs, the master suite is actually a tremendous room. I love it. I love bed hangings. I love to make a grand statement with the bed. It's only because I love to have a sense of being in a cocoon when I'm in a bed, and it's actually one of my favorite places to be when I'm in the house.
Garrow, I think giving a classic Georgian house a streamlined makeover would be the perfect job. I saw a house a few months back when visiting another client in the suburbs which would be perfect to renovate and create in. Of course, the dream aspect would include an unlimited budget, and a client who said just do it, and I'll be back in 6 months.
The sitting room is a lovely little gem of a space. When you look through from the stair hall, it has a pair of French doors that looks out towards a balcony. It's really a charming little space. It has a small fireplace.
Garrow, I would say the Kips Bay show house, since I had a clear and underlying concept for the space, and so many of my designer colleagues appreciated it so much. I felt so fulfilled by this appreciation. Garrow, I think the best advice, both related to design and perhaps can be applied to life in general, was by Marjorie Shushan, who told me always be careful to make sure you don't overdo things, which resonates true in everything.
I love to curl up on the lovely Gustavian sofa with a great book and light the fire. For me, that's my winter room. The greatest folly of this house is actually this hidden third floor.
Garrow, the 3 things I can't live without are 1. A measuring tape in tow all the time. 2. Sketching paper and a good pen to sketch/draw with. 3. My scale ruler. I can't live without my measuring tape, and I always make sure I have one handy. I always measure things when I find something with a pleasing proportion. I'm always sketching and drawing, and I could never leave home without a pen and paper to sketch with, and my scale ruler, which I had a woodworker of mine cut down to fit neatly in my pen case, as I'm always studying plans and measuring dimensions on things.
Upstairs guest room, I wanted to have a little bit of bed hangings, a little bit of mystery up there, a little bit of fun, a little playfulness. I decorated with a ton of pillows, and I find that a lot of people on a rainy day love to go up there and just sit on the bed and read.
Garrow, I guess at the end of all this, I'd like to publish a book featuring some of my work and my sketches and drawings, which will hopefully, someday, be inspiring to others who have this passion for design.